Welcome back to our video series on the US tax reform. Today we would like to pay attention on the interest deductibility. Elisa, a lot of our Mittelstand clients finance their US activities through intercompany loans. I heard that the new tax reform had actually some changes to those rules. And it would be interesting to hear from you what are the new rules are and what the impact is.
So as you know, Matthias, we've always had limitations on interest deductibility in the US, so that is not new. In the past, interest expense limitations were based on two things: your debt equity ratio, and then the actual limitation is based on 50% of your adjusted taxable income, which is essentially like a cash basis income. You can't exceed, that amount to deduct the interest. And of course, when dealing with payments to foreign related parties, the interest always had to be paid or it couldn't be deducted at all. So if you didn't pay it, you didn't even get into any of these interest limitation rules. And I think it's important to remember that that aspect is still true. So interest must actually be paid to the foreign related party before we get to the new limitation rules. So under the new law, I think it's simpler because the limitation is now based on 30% of EBITDA rather than 50% of adjusted taxable income, but it's also become a lot more expansive.
What do you mean by more expensive?
Well, first of all, now the new rules are applying to all loans, including third-party loans and not just intercompany loans. So this is something I think that is a really big change. But for our German Mittelstand, I don't think that they're going to think this is much of a big change for them, because oftentimes a parent company will guarantee a third-party bank loan for its subsidiary, and a guarantee was also included as part of the interest limitation rules before. It'd be included now. So I doubt that for most of our German Mittelstand that this is going to feel like that big of a change for them.
Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the past it was if I had disallowed interest, I could always carry them forward indefinitely to the future. Is this still the case, or did it change?
We think so. So until we actually get final regulations, we will not know for sure about that. But it appears that if you have interest limitations in the past that you were carrying forward, that you're still going to be able to carry those forward under the new law.
A lot of our clients are structuring through a transparent structure with a GmbH and Co. KG and the LP. I heard that they might run into any trouble. Is that right?
Yeah, possibly. So the new law attempts to neutralize the effects of a hybrid mismatch arrangement, which is where you have one entity treated one way in one country and treated a different way in another country. So as you know, a lot of times we will use a KG that owns a partnership in the U.S., and that KG might be treated or will be treated a lot of times as a corporation in the U.S. because we'll make an election to treat them that way, but they're treated as a partnership still in Germany. So this is a mismatch arrangement that the U.S. government is trying to combat. So in these cases, if we are paying interest, let's say from the limited partnership up to a KG that we have elected to treat as a corporation in the U.S., the new law is going to deny deductions for both the interest payment or any royalty payments.
Oh, so listening to this, do you think the companies should reconsider their financing of the U.S. investment?
Sure, absolutely. I think before tax reform, it really made sense for a German parent to either go out and get a loan and then lend the money to the U.S., or if they had their own money to lend that into the U.S., but basically to do intercompany financing, because in the U.S. they would get an interest expense deduction at a 35% rate, right? And then in Germany, they would typically be taxed at something lower than a 35% rate. So now with a 21% corporate rate, I'm not sure that it makes sense to do that anymore, right? We don't want to deduct expense here at one rate and have it taxed at a higher rate, in another country. So I know for all of our clients, we are revisiting their worldwide financing strategies along with their corporate structure to actually see, if the debt financing they had in place before really makes any economic sense, going forward. So perhaps one strategy that might work would be to simply, if you have, for example, the loan between the KG and the LP, would be to restructure that loan with another entity in the group that's not considered a hybrid. That might be an option that would work.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I guess, I mean, in regards to this topic, there are definitely considerations necessary.
Absolutely.
Right? Elisa, thank you very much for your explanations.
You're
And yes, I hope this was helpful for you. And please visit our other videos which we have on the US tax reform, where we actually go into more detail on different topics which are applicable to German companies investing in the US.